Hello. Welcome to the Port Huron Statement. Happy 4th of July. What I have to say about 4th of July is, well, this is the most resource-rich land on the planet. We need to demand more from our leaders that ultimately orchestrate the utilization of the resources of said resources, the there are a lot of reasons ultimately that I find to complain. But the primary reason that I've made this show is in response to some pretty unacceptably appalling bullshit going on in the United States right here. And so I think it's important to recognize the responsibility that comes with being a participant in any society. Ultimately, if we're going to see the improvements that are requisite in order to avoid universally unsavory outcomes, we need to start expecting more. We need to start cooperating more. I don't think that there's really been good leadership in the United States in terms of the executive in a very long time. And the rot within the federal government and the government from top to bottom is really tearing American society apart. The infrastructure and hierarchy has been really, it has been orchestrated, and it has orchestrated the sort of system of scarcity, exploitation, and extortion that has created this veneer of freedom, a veneer of democracy, whatever that. This is a republic, it's representative, it's not actually democracy. Democracy would mean that you had the capacity to actually vote on policy. This is a representative government, so it's a republic, but it's not even really that when you peel it back deeper. And so I guess I don't know what to celebrate. There are ideals, American ideals, that are noble, but they're not being realized. They're being used as a totem, as a shield, as a facade. It's the big lie. It's all manufactured consent, and the punishment of dissidents in a variety of ways that's becoming more and more palpable. And that's been, a tradition of these sort of industrialists, political puppets, or like McCarthy. Ultimately, the moves McCarthy's making aren't sincere or authentic. They're politically motivated. And there was no good that came of the McCarthy hearings, and other than the fact that it was helpful to hard conservative posturing and then ultimately electability through the mongering of fear, which we've allowed the manufacture of an idiocracy. The education systems that have been developed in the United States are built around a concept of instilling obedience, not actually developing intelligence. There are so many criticisms that individually are very serious, but collectively, when you examine closely the manipulations of the society en masse by government, by bureaucracy, by wealthy power brokers aplenty, the manipulation of shell companies and, charities as mechanisms for laundering and embezzlement, same with churches, and the list goes on and on. This is a scamocracy, is what I like to call it, because it's all veneer. There is no real production because we've hit the point where there's no incentive for actual production. Not really. Ultimately, the class that is in control has domination of manufacture through their domination of Chinese importation. It's a real bad situation. There's not much to celebrate. I'm happy about some things, though. My physics papers are starting to get a little bit more attention, and I've position myself well enough to where I should be able to realize the things that I'm trying to realize, which are good for everyone. Happy July 4th.